So you've probably watched a lot of videos around cool transition effects you can use to spruce up your videos. In fact, we ourselves have a few of them on our channel. However, if you pay attention, you'll realize that almost all of these transitions focus on fancy camera movements or using effects such as light leaks or fade outs to transition between scenes. Now, while these look awesome when you're trying to create cinematic B-rolls or snappy short-form content like Facebook ads, if you step outside of the realm of these type of content and want to create an immersive video to make your audience fall in love with the storyline and not just the edits themselves, then you'd want to start using audio effects for your transitions. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. How to use audio effects to seamlessly transition between scenes. So, let's get the show started. Now we'll be using InVideo's online video editor to show you how you can do this since it's super easy to use. And anyone can get started with it even if they've never edited a video before. But you can use the same principle on any other video editor as well. So as you can see, I've already lined up a few footages here on the timeline. Let's look at the first example. This is a very common use case wherein you have a person talking to the camera and introducing the subject of the video, and then want to move to another scene where you actually show the tutorials or steps. We do this all the time at InVideo when we transition from the intros to the steps we actually want to cover. So in the first scene, we have a host who is talking to her audience, and in the second scene, we actually see her computer screen. Let's put a swipe transition between the two scenes and look for a perfect sound effect to match this transition. Let's go to the SFX library and type in swoosh. You can listen to the sound effect before putting it on the timeline. The swoosh effect will match perfectly with the visual. Please note, if your sound effect is getting looped, since it's a small clip on the music track, you can always unloop it through these options. Align it to the point where the visual transition starts to happen and it will match perfectly. And you have perfectly transitioned between scenes using the swoosh sound effect. Here's another common example of how you can use sound effects to transition between scenes without having to use any visual transitions. Let's say you have a person looking into the screen, and then you want to switch to them typing something. Then you can use a typing sound effect that will perfectly make the transition between the close-up of the eyes to the fingers on the keyboard. Another common example is when you establish a shot or a setting using a time lapse, and then you want to cut to the person in your frame and what he is about to do. You can usually use a swoosh sound in such instances to make the transition impactful. So let's go back to the timeline and look at these two scenes. One is where we have a time-lapse shot of the sky establishing that it's morning, and then we want to cut it to the alarm on the phone. So we use the low swoosh sound effect that will match the time-lapse shot. Perfect! In this example, we are looking at a person sitting in his car, lost in his thoughts. But suddenly, his thought process is disrupted by the sound of traffic. Now, while we've covered a few instances, when you're working on your own project, it's all about choosing the right sound effect. Sound has a power to generate a visual in the audience's mind even without anything on the screen. Playing the sound of waves, for example, will immediately set them to expect for the next scene to be on a beach or an ocean. Similarly, using something complex like a boom sound effect will immediately stand out and seem jarring. So you want to pick a music track that goes hand in hand with the emotional significance of the action happening on screen. And that was a roundup of our best tips on how you can use sound effects to make super seamless transitions between scenes. If you found value in this video, we'd love for you to give a big thumbs up and check out our previous video in the series where we dive deep into how you can pick the perfect music track for your video and edit to the beat. This is Christine from InVideo, and I will see you in the next one.